I know a lot of people don't like base building, but base building is here. Base building is one of the more popular aspects of DayZ. They've massively got to overhaul base building in DayZ. It is really, really bad. Now, have you guys been playing much experimental? I have. And vanilla DayZ isn't that bad.
It's making a return.
The only issue I have with vanilla DayZ is base building. It is shit. Like, I see some really, really decent structures from people, but from when you play on a server where they've got build anywhere, for example, which is great, but it has its issues because then you end up with unrealistic structures. But they need to do a massive, massive overhaul of base building. I tried building just locking off one of those little brown double door garages, the one which has only got the one entry, the smaller ones, which you could just drive a vehicle into. And then I wanted to build a watchtower at the front and turn one of the walls into a gate. Can't do that. Couldn't work out how to attach the wire to it. So then decided, okay, I'll just build out further so I can build a carport, somewhere to put my car. And it just would not let me place the last wall, even though it was on a driveway. And I'm like, what is bugging out here? They've really, really got to do some work on base building in vanilla DayZ. A major overhaul of it. I know a lot of people don't like base building, but base building is here. Base building is one of the more popular aspects of DayZ. They've massively got to overhaul base building in DayZ. It is really, really bad.
I mean, I got to give my love out to the modders for like the place anywhere, build anywhere mods, because that's kind of where it's. If DayZ Bohemia were to implement that in some fashion, now you're looking tons better just in that aspect alone. Like you can't place tents in buildings or something because of some weird geometry thing going on. So yeah, if Bohemia were to implement just those alone, I mean, of course they need to do more, but that's definitely a great start, I think.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, the whole thing with base building, obviously, it's that end game kind of goal. And if that end game kind of goal for you or your group is just not done in a very, very good way, then what is the point? Like, I want to be able to go off in the woods, or heck, the mountain just outside of Cherno, between Cherno and Electro. It's next to the railway. If there's a hidden area there, it's surrounded by trees. You can just go on there, and you can build a really nice base. Wall it off, get a gate there, brilliant. But you can't really do that properly because of the way that the vanilla base building is. Like, I would love to see, obviously we've got our wood and we've got our metal. I would love to see like more roofing kind of aspects of it. I would love to be able to create a metal ceiling, a metal roof or a wooden roof, or heck, those like big massive plastic sheets that you can just get. I would love to see something like that. It's something just simple, just to plonk up there,
They already have that asset. Look at the watchtower roofs.
Yeah, they have the watchtower, but
make that buildable on its own.
One of the big issues for me is they need to announce snap locking. Building something to try to make a nice, neat structure is absolutely fucking terrible. And like Don is saying, and Mello, you spent all this time building all these walls, and you've almost got your perfect structure, and then the last piece just won't allow you to place it, no matter what you do. And you've just wasted all this time putting all of these things down, and you've only built maybe the one fence kit. Maybe sure you could have built more fence kits, but that takes more resources, more pieces of rope to. I know they're fairly easy things to craft, but just they. When you're on PC, yes, you can go play community consoles that have got expansion mod or base building plus or more doors or something like that. Console players, I don't know how they aren't. They're carrying on about other things. I'm surprised we're not hearing more about base building. Scum is much better though, because at least you can place all the blueprints down up to, I think you can have 11 or 12 blueprints down to see whether it's going to work for you. DayZ, it's pretty much one at a time. And then, you've got to try and place this other one. And if you don't have a gap, especially on vanilla, if someone can peek through that gap and see the back of your wall, they can just easily destroy it. They don't even need to breach it. They don't even need to use grenades. They can just destroy it from being able to see behind the wall. And without being able to snap lock, you can't do it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, I would love to see the base building aspect of DayZ to become much more viable, especially with 1.14. I'm actually probably going to take a look at more vanilla style servers to play on them. And I want to have like the best that it can possibly be, but it just, the DayZ, well, I wouldn't say the DayZ dev team, because I know they know a lot of issues that they would like to work on, but it's just the higher ups. So I would hope the higher ups, they hear us and be like, look, base building needs to be overhauled. It's been virtually exactly the same since it's been first implemented, with a few minor tweaks since then, and it's just not working out, especially for the console players. Try and do these kind of things. I mean, yeah, sure. Like, we can always just, like as you said, Buddy, that the PC community can just play a modded servers. They've got base building plus expansion, base building, place anywhere, build anywhere, stuff like that. But for those of us who don't want to use those mods, who just want to take DayZ in as it's meant to be, how can you really get the most out of it if one of the most critical parts of the game is flawed? Like when base rating, when damage was calculated with each pellet of a buckshot, the Sega became the ultimate base rating tool, because with a fully filled drum mag, you could get in a base instantly, and it's ridiculous. And they need to really.
It needs some love. It needs some.
It does.
It needs a patch. It needs a patch devoted to improving it.
Almost a complete overhaul.
Yes.
Definitely.
Can you guys see Spud's comment? Let's be honest, base building has never been implemented. It's more like they were partway through developing it and dumped what they had into the base game and moved on. Lad, take it away.
I mean, you certainly do get that vibe. With you can only build a fence, a gate, and the watchtower. And I've seen bases where they use constant watchtowers for the roofs, and that's all well and good, but that is so bad in terms of, the items that you need to do the base building and performance. I remember, back in like my old PC, it wasn't the best, but it was okay. I could play DayZ 1080p pretty decently in mid-sentence. But I went to a base. It was actually it was on Blue Waffle Attack Force. That's when I first met Wee Devil. He showed me his base that they had in Severograd, and the top of it was just like the watchtowers. It was just constant, and it was a fucking mess, and it was ridiculous. And I had like 10 FPS, and it's like, they really, really, really need to do something about this to make it more viable for players to do. Like, it's something that I love about the game. I remember when I first done base building, and me and a friend, we built something really fucking cool. To us, it was really, really nice. But it was a shame of like how quickly and easily like people can get in. If somebody has all the time in the world, they can I wouldn't say instantly crack the 3 and 4 digits, but within a few hours, after going through them one by one, we had that situation on New Dawn, people would do it. And it's like, there needs to be more secure ways of securing your base, maybe like just a 5-digit combo code. Something like that. That would be fucking better.
Make it rare, make it a really rare item. But
exactly.
Yeah, something that maybe it's a tier 4 sort of item, used to secure military loot or something like that, and yeah, exactly. And it's like a lot of the game needs to get some love.
definitely agree on, but I think the most important thing, yes, it's great that we're getting new content, we're getting new weapons, we're getting new, abilities those weapons specify, we're getting new animations with the bullpup, fantastic, we've got the stealth kill, we've got the toxic cloud, fantastic. It's really, really leading the game into a fantastic place. But when you do all of these things, like your NBC gear, you can't reasonably expect a normal player or a group of players to just have a suit on them at all times. They don't accommodate that. They don't have an item where you can just store the NBC gear. And you can't realistically build a proper secure base because of how vanilla base building is. And it's like, you really, really have to take a look at how base building is. Fine-tune the placement, add the snapping ability, create more structures that you can do for base building, half structures, make it so you can secure a house a lot better, board up doors, board up windows, stuff like that. Make it more viable. And
that's actually a really good idea, boarding up.
Yeah.
That would take like, what, 3-4 planks and a couple nails? Yeah, I think that would be awesome.
Someone said they need to speak to those who've made some of the mods. Like more doors is brilliant. It was a bit buggy. I don't know what state it's in now, but it was brilliant. But it'd be great if you could actually just lock down the existing doors. Now, who was it who was working on the mod? It's on the tip. War Dog. I think it was War Dog. Working on a mod for being able to lock existing structures, and then you add on the more doors mod with its barricades and things like that, so people can't just crouch walk through windows and things like that. There's some amazing mods out there, and they need to do something because that really and vehicles are probably the two biggest issues for the game. If they could fix that, because like Spud says, if you look at every other survival game of recent time, the base building is far superior. Scum, Valheim, Deadside, Icarus. In my view, if DayZ gives base building some love, DayZ will simply go through the roof, excuse the pun. It's the one thing that is letting the game down.
Yeah, too right. And we had the DayZ Twitch account here before, so if they're still here, like, we're saying this out of love and we're saying this out of passion for the game. If the player had more options to do a secure base within a building, which is great, or somewhere out in the woods, like in Livonia, for example, it would be so much better for the vanilla community to have that ability. Even if you just add in some extra assets, I wouldn't say it'll be a quick little patch, yes, for sure. But, for bases who want to add, roofing, like a 2x2 square area of roofing, just a couple of fence posts with some metal sheets, something like that. It doesn't have to be it can just be flat. It can just be something for players to use. Maybe add some barbed wire to it. Maybe you can add some the Christmas lights or something, just to make it more viable, to make it more, I wouldn't say believable, but to immerse yourself in the game a little bit more. That would be really cool. Like, we've got the tripwires, which is really great for base defenses, and I believe we've got that. That's a topic that's coming up. But you're definitely in the right direction on that department. But the actual base building part, again, it needs some really good love, and it really, I think a lot of people in the community know it, but they don't realize it. That's why a lot of communities, modern communities, they just use base building plus or expansion building. Or if they use vanilla base building, they just have the build anywhere, which is great, but at the same time, it really does take you out when you see monolith towers off in the distance at Northwest Airfield or something like that. And it's like, I don't want to fucking go there,
Get sniped by some bad boy with a Shay tack or something sitting up the top and just sniping everyone who comes along. I don't know whether it would lead to every second building being locked down per se over time, Spud. I look at Scum, and Scum has both options, and most people still prefer to build a standalone structure, maybe around a house or something like that as the central core of it. But for the most part, people prefer to go elsewhere to build their bases because they've got really good base defenses that work better when you have like a little bit of a maze style entry to the base.
Yeah. And it's exactly, and it's like, if you in DayZ you go somewhere and it's got a house in the middle of nowhere, that is the perfect spot because that house could have all of the most essential gear that you've caught and you've got. You can secure it, like I said, with the windows and the doors and everything like that, and then you have your actual compound, which you can just, with the free part of base building, you can just do whatever you need to do. So you can funnel like raiders into one area so you can catch or whatever. Like there's so many ideas that players can do if the tools were there for them to utilize, which at the moment is not there. Especially with DayZ, with complaining that every single house would be locked down. I don't believe that is actually physically impossible on a vanilla server, considering the actual economy. A modded server with like 500 plus loot, maybe, yeah. Like 500% loot, yeah, probably.
Yeah.
But with a vanilla server, which is obviously what it caters to, I don't believe that would be possible.
What happened on DayZ Down Under was most of the main places of interest did get locked down. I do remember it, Spud. Like I was on a crew and we were in the tower in Novi, and we had that locked down with multiple doors and all the rest of it, and each floor was locked off and every room on each floor was locked off, and it would have been an absolute nightmare for someone to try to raid. But yeah, it does come down to, like you said, monitoring the central loot economy, making sure that it's not easy to do, that it's more of a rarity, but that base or vanilla base building method needs to be better to encourage people, to reward people for actually building a standalone structure somewhere, or as opposed to locking down existing structures, which is great and more realistic and possibly maybe less intense on server resources. As opposed to these massive, like you said, towers and all the rest of it that just lag the server every time you get within the bubble of it.
I can tell you right now that I will 90% of the time I will lock down an existing building before I build a standalone base. That is just
it's so much easier.
Especially since
you can't break through the walls of an existing house.
Exactly. I'm more so of a solo player than I do play with a group, and having all of those resources or collecting all of those resources as a solo player is it's hard. Plain and simple, it's hard, and it shouldn't be easy. Don't get me wrong, it shouldn't be easy, but it's way more logical to lock down an existing building. It's that's the nitty gritty.
Too, right?
Yeah,
exactly. And it's like the best place to obviously, like if you're in a big group, the best place to build in is a school. But with the current way that base building is, vanilla base building, yes, it's somewhat easy to set it up, but fuck me, is it hard to keep it actually reinforced in the performance around the area. Like you get in that network bubble, you know for a fact that somebody's based in a school when your FPS drops from like 80 to 40. And
now,
it's like,
one of the interesting things they do on Scum is they actually have bases start to deteriorate over time. Once you've got walls up, it's not just a case of set and forget they're there forever until someone knocks them down. You actually have to maintain your base, as you could imagine you would have to do IRL, and use toolkits to repair the individual walls. Now, you can go to the flag and repair everything as a game mechanic to make it easier, but I like that aspect as well, because the bigger your base, the more resources you need to continuously maintain it.